Hey, this is Decoy from DecoyNoise, and today we're doing more Am I the Antagonist post brought to you by Hard Pass. Now, we're not talking about when you politely decline something. You're talking about when someone tells you to do something or offers something and it's so ridiculous you have to tell them it's a hard pass. Like, no, I will under no circumstance be convinced to do this. So, which brings us to the featured post, which is, am I the antagonist for calling my sister a dummy after she fell for the Illuminati WhatsApp scam? So I'm not exactly certain what that is, but make sure you're joining the Illuminati of YouTube channels, which is the Decoy Koi. Make sure you join down below with the subscription and the notifications on, because you want to be a part of this elite group of YouTube Redditor commentators or comments or just arguing people, whatever it may be. Make sure you join down below, but let's go ahead and get to the story right now. So, OP wrote, in case you're unaware, there's a bunch of scumbags in Cameroon who pretend to be a part of the Illuminati and message people on social media telling them that they're invited and will receive benefits like a massive salary and be part of this secret and prestigious organization. And the initiation is a registration fee of $666, of course. There's various YouTube videos of it and the whole thing is so ridiculous. I don't know how anyone would fall for it, but lo and behold, my dummy sister did. She actually transferred $666, but the bank stopped the transfer, detecting it as fraudulent. She told us how she was joining the Illuminati and she needed our help is how we found out. By the way, she's not a kid, she's 21. I was talking to my brother and said something like, I've seen videos of this on YouTube. I couldn't believe there are people this effing stupid to fall for it. It's horrifying someone related to us is that dumb to fall for it. My sister overheard it and started crying and said and then went to her mom. Parents said I needed to apologize, and I said no. What she did was the dumbest thing I've ever seen anyone do, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Who does this? This scam is even more obvious than the Nigerian prince one. Most of my family is saying I'm the antagonist for that, but F it. We shouldn't be comforting my sister. We should be shaming her and letting her know what she did was effing stupid. So, in typical Decoy court fashion, I give you my knee-jerk reaction to the situation. Yes, I'm not about sugarcoating things. I'm often very rude, very crass, and I'll tell you exactly what's on my mind, especially when I feel somebody's acting out of order and being dumb. And honestly, you're being dumb if you're trying to transfer someone $666 in turn of getting millions and benefits and everything. That's something dumb, especially for a 21-year-old. But let's be honest right now. This is a family member, not someone you're going to blast on the internet for, like, you know, are you the antagonist for this, or some stranger you want to make fun of. This is your sister that's crying, that's hurt because she made a mistake. Yes, you should sugarcoat it. Yes, you should tell her that this is a mistake, but you don't need to be a jerk about it, your family. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, yes, OP, you are the huge antagonist, because just because she made a mistake doesn't mean that you should make her cry and say, oh, I'm not going to sugarcoat my family. It's like, no, she made a mistake. Let her have that. I don't know. How does this make you superior, all high and mighty, because you're able to sit back and laugh about it because you saw a YouTube video one time that warned you early on about this scam? I don't get it. But let's go ahead and read the top comment right now, which is, my God, not the antagonist. I would have done the same exact thing. Your sister is a dummy. She's 21 and fell for that BS. Even my 80-year-old grandma could see it from space. It was a scam. You were right to call her out. At least she's unlikely to do it again. Just to be safe, though, take it as an opportunity to educate her. There are loads of articles online about how to spot a scam, and some are more convincing that might still get her. Edit. Some people saying she shouldn't be shamed further. I agree with that. She shouldn't be continuously ridiculed and shamed for the rest of her days about it. But I have nothing against him calling her a dummy at the time. There's so much bad grammatical errors in YouTube, and not YouTube comments, but also Reddit comments, that I feel like, what is going on? Are you guys experiencing that too, where you're saying it's, like, you know, more and more difficult to read these posts because they're just riddled with errors? But the next top reply was, you're the antagonist. You're not wrong that she was dumb, but your sister is now very well aware how dumb she was. She's likely terribly upset to see herself diminished in how you regard her. You may be right that she's a dummy, but you have no right to be cruel. You are 100% correct and the term applies to her, but it's mean, and you can be right and kind at the same time, or you can just be right and you're choosing just to be right. If you were to do the same, have done the same thing, if someone had just somehow got you to act completely against your own self-interest, and then you felt utterly humiliated by it, how would you feel if how you could feel if the people that are supposed to lift you up to joy in your error just salt in the wound? What? How would you feel? And then Wait, how would you feel, and then how you could feel if the people that are supposed to lift you up to joy in your error? I was just making sure that maybe that's just not my reading comprehension skills going down. No, the writing has all gone down. It's kind of bizarre. What if this is all just machine learning where, you know, whenever you translate English to Spanish or like, you know, Korean to English, it never gets it exactly right and it always lifts out a couple words and kind of puts some tenses and everything. That's what these comments are all starting to seem like. This was a machine that thought about it and then translated it. But I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Drop your comments down below if you think that I'm just being overly cruel to the commenters. So the reply was, not the antagonist, your sister is not a child, not the antagonist, she's a dummy. And then someone said, doesn't mean making fun of her isn't an antagonist move, it doesn't do any good, you're the antagonist, which is kind of the point I had, where why do you need to add this extra insult to injury when you guys are family? Yes, she did a dumb thing, but that's for her enemies to bring up. Like, that's for a guy that's battle rapping her in front of the high school to bring up, not her family members. And especially if the family's saying, hey, she's crying, she knows she did something wrong, let her heal from it. Why does it have to be his hill to die on? Like, no. I've known my little sister to be dumb this entire time. Now I got the proof. Time to start making some flyers or whatever this is. So I'm still going to stick with my original Decoy court verdict, which is you're the antagonist, because why do it? Why does that help you? And what do they stand to gain from spending their time on doing something like this? I'll never know. But let's go ahead and get to the next post of the day, which is, am I the antagonist for leaving the room without a word after my fiance proposed? So OP wrote, I am a 26-year-old female, he's a 26-year-old male. We've been together for 3 years. We've been actively discussing life future plans. We always wanted the same things in life, and we agreed on most of the topics and decisions. One of the things we discussed a year ago was ideas about how we wanted him to propose. We talked about a proposal in the mountains or a forest, something outdoors, simple but romantic to us. I was very happy and excited. Not to mention we live between mountains and forests, so it was easily accessible. We have been discussing this many times, even dropping ideas of which mountain would be the most romantic. We hiked together, so we thought the first mountain we've been to, for example. We also discussed who should propose to whom. He told me he really wanted to be the one doing it. Yesterday, after I came back from work, exhausted, we cooked, watched TV, and at some point I went to the hallway to hang a coat. He followed me and he proposed. Between the shoes on the floor, the kitchen and the restroom, he was kneeling. I couldn't believe it. It was such a disappointment knowing what we always talked about. I felt let down and had a lot of thoughts that were once in my head. He was my probable antagonist move. I was so hurt I couldn't say a word, couldn't even accept it. I looked at him, looked around me as I couldn't believe where he proposed, felt the tears in my eyes. I nodded and walked past him to lay on the bed and cry. He took some time before following me and asking if anything was wrong. Told him I expected something different but would marry him regardless. My friends are mixed about it, but a few of them did say I was being ungrateful and that it's the thought that counts. He wants to marry me after all, and maybe this is the only thing that counts. Am I the antagonist? And they said, update, I would like to address a few recurring questions or remarks. Maybe he was too excited to propose and couldn't wait. This is certainly possible. Many of you commented that this is what happened to them. I'm not aware that that's the case yet. I will have to ask him tonight. If you don't like your proposal, why didn't you propose instead? I did offer to propose. I didn't care about who proposed. It's not because he's a man that he had to propose. He wanted to do it. Well, your partner proposed this way, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy this worked for you. Not everyone shares your view on engagement. What consists of a romantic gesture, and that's okay. The important thing is that both parties are alright with it in the end. This didn't work for me. Why can't you just be happy? I am happy. I can be disappointed by the proposal and be happy and excited about being engaged. I believe both things aren't mutually exclusive. You sound controlling / abusive person / a bridezilla who will never be happy with what he does. Please realize that you make a ton of assumptions on myself and my relationship based on an anonymous post. You are so entitled. Some of you are acting as if we wanted, remainder that we both brainstormed and wanted those things together. It wasn't purely my idea. It was a 5-star hotel room, a fancy restaurant, a pony ride, while in reality it was literally about walking outside, living 20 minutes by foot near a forest that we often go to. I thought it was a sweet proposal. Amongst other things we talked about things we both liked and disliked. One of the things I disliked was the idea of being proposed at home. Okay. Thank you for everyone that commented. I read as many comments as I could, whether they were you're the antagonist, not the antagonist, no one antagonist here, and everyone sucks here. Different opinions help me. I decided to apologize for my behavior because I probably hurt him. He's my partner. I don't want to hurt him, no matter what. Considering the amount of things we talked about for a year or so, and about how easy it was to make something we seemingly both wanted at some point, I now believe I have a right to being disappointed, while being happy because he proposed. This is absolutely not a deal breaker for me. I will have a conversation and understand why it happened this way, and there will be a reason, and everything will be behind us. So taking this over to Decoy Court for a knee-jerk reaction, I want to go ahead and say that me as a guy, if I had made some sort of plan about how to get engaged and like, you know, this was going to be the ideal circumstance, it would make sense that you probably try to keep your potential spouse happy and do exactly what they're wanting, because, you know, hopefully they only get married once, hopefully they're only proposed to once, so you want to make it as, you know, magical as possible. But if there's some extraneous circumstances where they can't get out to the forest, or he's just too nervous about the whole situation, or whatever it may be, the simple fact that you were proposed to someone that's supposed to be the love of your life and they're just so disappointed with your ability to make them happy with the proposal makes them walk away and cry like, yeah, I'm still excited, but I wanted the fanfare, I wanted the social media post, I wanted the picture, I wanted to be able to go brag to my friends on how beautiful this was. Yes, I'm making lots of assumptions on OP based on this anonymous post, but it seems a bit ungrateful in my opinion, and I feel like that would be a red flag for the guy, but, you know, maybe that's my skewed opinion on the situation. So I'm going to go ahead and say that a very light, you're the antagonist, maybe a very light, everyone sucks here, because OP didn't do, or the boyfriend, fiance didn't follow up with what the original plan was, but also because OP is a little bit ungrateful for, hey, you're getting married, isn't that what counts? Or is it more of a situation where you're getting married, it better be a damn good story? I don't know. So let me know what you guys are thinking down below with the, you know, your thoughts on it. But I mean, let's go ahead and read the top reply, which is, after all that discussion, I'd ask him what prompted him to propose right then. No antagonist here. You can't help how you felt. I would judge differently if you two hadn't discussed how to propose. I'd be a little miffed. Like, why the big lead up then? You should explain that the big lead up led to a bigger expectations. And what was the big lead up? They talked about the marriage one time or two times or however many times it took them to say, yeah, it'd be cool if it was the first wedding in a forest. Like, what happens if the first, I don't know, the wedding doesn't get to go to the first place? She's gonna silently walk to the next room and cry? I mean, I'm not married, never been engaged or anything like that, so maybe I don't understand the fine parts of being engaged and getting married. So hey, whatever, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me in the comment section. I'm always open to hearing your guys' feedback. But the next reply was saying a few people called her ungrateful, and the important thing is that he wants to marry her at all. So this person wrote, by that logic, there is nothing wrong with whatsoever with what you nodding and leaving to the room. Your fiance should be thrilled. He is being ungrateful. It's the thought that counts. You confirmed you wanted to marry him after all, and maybe this is the only thing that counts. If a proposal is a proposal and it doesn't matter because it's the marriage that's important, and apparently two things can't be done right, then an exception is an exception. It doesn't matter because the marriage isn't important. Except you don't believe that. They don't believe this. They blame you. They see the problem in your reaction, and because clearly they don't believe it themselves. Your reaction wasn't great, but the proposal sucked, and your friends are her hypocrites. So I hate everything about this post top to bottom, because it's like, hey, fight fire with fire. If he gives you a crappy, low effort proposal, give him a crappy, low effort acceptance of said proposal. That'll teach him. And it's like, no, what? Why does this become a competition as to who can disappoint the other party more, who can be less thrilled about being married? It doesn't seem like it's a good scenario. And I do remember dating somebody a while back where I think it was like a comedy special or whatever it was that we saw, but they said, you know, some women don't want to be married. Some women just want the wedding. And then the woman I was seeing at the time was like, yeah, that's true. No, having the wedding is the most important part of it. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of scary. You just want to have this big bash all about you. You want to have pre-wedding bash as a bachelorette party that's all about you. You want all the attention of all your friends around you for the months beforehand and all the planning, and just becoming the Kim Kardashian of your life for like 6 months because you're married. I'm like, that doesn't sound like someone that I want to be married to, because all you care about is being special for a while. Like, why is that? And this thing right here where it's like, hey, he needs to give you this amazing proposal, or else you're going to give him a less than amazing response, or he needs to give you this amazing wedding. This seems very high maintenance to me, and I honestly don't agree with that. But maybe we're just having people that are at the same frequency as OP, where it's like, hey, they also expect this grand romantic gesture proposal, and anything less is gonna be, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I'll marry you, thanks, dude, and just walk to the next room and cry. I don't agree with any of that. But let's go ahead and read the top controversial comment saying, you're the antagonist. My guess would be he's trying to surprise you, so he decided to go off plan. Regardless though, I'll never understand why people put so much pressure on their partners to plan the perfect proposal. The important thing is you love each other and are both committing yourselves to the other, right? That's really all that should matter. And that would be the thing is, OP did clarify that they're just happy they're getting married, and that's the more important part of the situation. But I do understand this, where it's like, you know, you put so much pressure on the perfect proposal. If it's not right, then you don't give them the perfect reply. It just seems like they're very shallow to me, but maybe that's why I'm not married right now, because I don't see the importance of this. So I do want to know you guys' comments, because Reddit has become the crap storm that it is right now. I only really take to heart the Decoy comments down below, because you guys seem to be more open to just rationale. So let's go ahead and get to that last comment, the last post I mean, which is, would I be the antagonist if I backed out of a house sitting deal for someone because they installed a security camera with audio recording in their house? Okay, this is gonna be fun. So OP wrote, so I was originally supposed to stay at a friend's, let's call them person A, house to watch their dog and feed their parakeets. Their partner, person B, lives there as well, but person B is going to be out of town for 2 weeks. Person A is not going out of town, but works shifts that are around 10 hours long if you include their commute. As such, person A asked if I could look after their dog. It's really just person A's dog, because she has separation anxiety and shouldn't really be left alone for days at a time. Person B works from home and is usually there with her. The parakeets could handle being left that long, but I do enjoy birds, so I don't mind visiting them and feeding them while I'm there with the dog. Originally, person A was going to bring the pets to my home to watch. However, it would be more convenient for person A if I went there and simply slept in their spare room. I was okay with this until I learned more details of what my stay would be like. Recently, person B installed a security camera that is app controlled and can be adjusted and moved at will. It also records audio. It will be on 24/7 and I will not be able to know when it's being looked at or listened to. It's the idea that you log into it to look at, so I really have no idea who will be looking at it since it's apparently not person A's idea. It records all the first floor and their audio recording may pick up more than that. I don't really know. I was planning on spending most of my time alone with the dog in the living room, using my laptop, but knowing that I will be recorded the entire time is making me seriously uncomfortable. Person A has not offered to turn it off, and I am no longer wanting to go stay at that home as a result. Am I the antagonist if I back out of this agreement and tell person A to bring the pets to my home if person A wants me to watch them? I will not be paid for any of this, and it will be for 2 weeks, so I feel I should at least be able to feel comfortable while I do this. This feels like a major invasion of privacy, seeing as it's not a front door camera like Ring and the like. The audio recording is especially unsettling. Person B's family members will apparently be the main people logging into it, from what I've been told, and I don't know any of them. So, are they the antagonists? And I'm gonna go ahead and rush this over to Decoy Code for my knee-jerk reaction to this situation, and I don't think they're the antagonists for not wanting to be essentially spied on. Yes, it's good that they are well aware of the camera's existence and the audio capabilities, but some people just don't want to be eavesdropped on all the time, and you don't know who else has access to it. I've heard of things like Ring cameras being hacked, or Alexa's just down or saving all your words that you save and uploading it to the cloud forever. So I get why they don't want to be involved in that. I don't really blame them for not walking away from it, and I also don't blame person B for wanting to have, you know, a video feed of their animal. Like, I'm not to that point where I have a Ring camera or a camera in my apartment to watch my cat while I'm gone, but honestly, that would be kind of nice if I'm out in Vegas for like 4 days and I'm just like, oh, what's the cat up to? Cool, the cat's licking himself in the sunlight. Cool, whatever. Like, I don't know. It seems like a good idea. So I don't blame anybody. I'm going to go ahead and say that there's no antagonist here because everybody's acting reasonable and responsible. It's just, you know, a difference of opinions. So let's go ahead and read that top comment, which is not the antagonist. Just tell them you're uncomfortable being watched that much and offer to bring the dog to your house like originally planned. You're allowed to have boundaries, which is more than reasonable. Next reply, no antagonist here. Person B has every right to install a security camera. You have every right to back out because of said security camera. Person A will have to bring their pets to your home, which is, yeah, that's probably, there's nothing wrong with that. I know that there's going to be other replies that are going to talk about like, hey, he's spying on you. Once he found out that you're this good-looking person, now they want to see you and record you. I don't really subscribe to that because that's a little bit too far of a stretch. But I mean, I understand the decoy defense is just stretching the truth as much as possible. But let's go ahead and read some controversial comments and see what they're saying. No antagonist here. Lots of people install security cameras in their home that have the same features. I even have 2 of those in my house right now. Your friend has every right to put cameras up in their own house. She might have even had them before you said you would pet sit. However, you are under no set obligation to pet sit for her, and if it's really that big of a deal for you, tell her your feelings or ask her again for the log into the camera until B gets back so you're able to see. However, although some of this will probably sound pretty suspicious to them, so I would choose my words wisely. And that's the one thing I would say is she's down to house sit and be there unsupervised, but once you realize there's some cameras, then she's like, oh, now I'm backing out. You'd only assume as, like, you know, a cautious homeowner to say, what, was she gonna throw a house party in our place? Was she going to be, you know, Breaking Bad and just starting to cook up some of that blue crystal or something? Like, you don't know what the situation is, so the best opportunity isn't say, hey, I know you got some security in your home. Let's go ahead and just turn that security back a little bit because so I can feel more secure. No, that's probably not the best thing to do. Best thing to do is just be like, hey, just bring the dog to my place. I don't need to have all that security stuff. I don't feel comfortable with it. I'm not trying to get the person B to have accommodations for me to do you guys a favor. Nah, just walk away from the scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and say still, there's no antagonist here. Everybody seems to be handling it like mature, responsible adults. But, you know, as we kind of go over, I don't know if I want to make the channel more like mature and responsible. It's still pretty silly and just kind of fun to kind of do this, you know, rambly thing where we're just talking trash online about some Am I the Antagonist stories, and then you guys may give me feedback and comments and we talk trash about that. But I want to know what other subreddits I should go into. Some people said I should go to r/politics, but that seems a little bit too heavy for this particular channel. Maybe do that spin-off channel, but just the idea that, you know, what would be the best way to transition either away from Reddit or into real life things? Like, just give me some feedback. Let's brainstorm some stuff because you guys are all part of that Decoy Koi pond down below. If you made it this far, I'm going to go ahead and say, I would tell you to subscribe, but I imagine you already have because you like the content this much. So, you know, just give me the feedback. I want to know how to grow the channel and become more than the 2.5K subscribers I've been locked in at like over 3 months right now. But as always, made it this far in the video. I want to say thank you for hanging out. We're having that SNL outro music. You see the likes, you see the hearts. Make sure you're sharing the content with somebody you know that might like this type of stuff. You're liking the video as well, but if nothing else, put this on autoplay and watch the next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next.